Welcome to the Intentional Man Podcast, a podcast that inspires and equips men to lead lives of intentionality and grow to their full potential. I'm your host, Jonathan McGinley, a life coach that helps men just like you create the life that you want and live a story of significance through my coaching and tools on intentionality. Thanks for joining, and welcome to the show. Hello, it's good to be with you today. I hope you're having a great day and that this finds you at just the right time. As always, thank you so much for joining and your ongoing support of the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and be here today. And it's my sincere desire that this podcast would add value to you and your life and give you inspiration and practical tools to live intentionally and to live a life that you're proud of. And so in my last episode, I had the privilege of interviewing Rob Stout, and the two of us discussed how to handle difficult times in life. And Rob, he shared just his powerful story of how he got knocked down in life, but how he worked hard to overcome the struggle and to ultimately find victory through the struggle. And whether you find yourself right now in the middle of a difficult season or not, it was an impactful episode. And Rob's story really inspired me, and I hope it inspired you. And it gave me a lot of great things to think through after the episode. And as I was processing the interview and how it relates to my life and the theme of this show of being an intentional man, I was thinking about how to take his lessons and advice and apply them now and to better prepare myself for difficult seasons in the future. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today is being proactive in our lives now to prepare us for difficult seasons in the future. And first of all, before I get started, I just wanted to say, if any of you are in the middle of a difficult season right now, please know that you're not alone. My heart and my prayers go out to you. You're incredibly loved and you're valued. Please reach out to somebody close to you so they can help you through the difficult time. And if there's any way at all that I can help, please let me know. So prayers go out to you if you find yourself in the middle of a difficult season right now. My heart is with you. But as we kind of jump into what I want to talk about today, one thing that we constantly discuss on this podcast is being men who are proactive in life and not reactive. So today I want to talk about how we can be proactive and intentional with our lives now, whether you find yourself in a difficult season or not, to be prepared to fight back against future times of struggle. And one thing that Rob kept mentioning was that tough times are inevitable. Unfortunately, they are a part of life. And as much as we'd like to avoid them, throughout the entirety of our lives, we all are going to experience seasons of difficulty. And so if we know that seasons of difficulty are inevitable, it seems necessary that we should best prepare ourselves to handle them as well as possible so that when they come, we are prepared. And so today I want to just talk about two simple ways that we can be proactive now to prepare for difficult seasons. And these are not an exclusive two by any means, but just two that I really thought of as I was kind of processing the interview with Rob. And the first, and this is taken kind of directly from Rob's story, is that we must take responsibility for our lives. We must take responsibility for our lives. And this seems like an obvious first step, but I think it is truly the foundation of handling tough times well. Life can be extremely unfair. I know that. I think we all know that. Things can happen to us that are truly out of our control. But today, I just want to talk about the things that we can always control, and that is our attitude and our actions. And if we don't take control of those two things now, they'll be even more difficult to control when things get tough. So no matter what is going on around you, you get to choose what kind of attitude you want to have. You get to choose the attitude that you want to have. Rob said that things didn't change in his life until he took responsibility for his own emotions and his feelings. So ask yourself the questions today. Am I letting circumstances dictate my attitude, or is my attitude dictating my circumstances? I think that's a great question for us to ask, to really chew on. And this is a tough one because, like I said earlier, life can be extremely unfair. But I think it's extremely freeing to know that we can control our attitude no matter what is going on in our life. That gives me confidence to know that I can control my attitude no matter what's going on around me, that I have control over that. Like that gives me hope. That gives me confidence that I can control that. If I become a victim to my circumstances, then I'm always going to have this roller coaster of a life. But if I come to the place where I'm going to choose joy, no matter what the circumstance, then I'm actually in way more control of my emotions and thoughts. And so, like, I don't want something bad that happens, maybe it's at work, to dictate how I treat my friends or my family. And if I don't take responsibility for my attitude, then the way that I treat others will often just be dictated by my circumstances. And as a leader and as an intentional man, like, we can't let our attitudes fall victim to our circumstances or to other people. Like, don't give away your power by giving away control of your attitude. And I think one of the best ways to do this is to have just simple attitude checks throughout the day. And so this could be like just setting some sort of trigger in your life where you can review your attitude. So what I mean by this is, like, maybe every time you sit down at your desk for work, you just pause and just say, how is my attitude today? Or it could be something like, just how would my best self handle this upcoming situation? So maybe it is just at work. That's something you do all the time. If you're, sitting down at your desk, every time you leave and you come back and you sit down before you start working, just ask yourself, like, how is my attitude? Is my attitude determining my circumstances, or are my circumstances determining my attitude? Or maybe it's every time you sit down in your car, or every time you pull into the garage and, you do this before you go into your house, or maybe it's first thing in the morning. But just some sort of check throughout the day to just check in on your attitude and your intentions. And if you do this, I feel like you'll feel way more in control of your life. And if you already have this habit in place, like if we do that now, if we put this habit in place now, I think we'll be way more prepared to maintain a good attitude when the difficult times come. And the same kind of thing goes for our actions. Like, are you taking responsibility for your own actions? It's a powerful question to ask. We cannot control the actions of other people. And sometimes those actions are truly unfair, but we can control our own actions. And one of the biggest things that Rob mentioned in this area was to stop making excuses, which is so critical, so key. He just said that he had been blaming other people or other things for his actions. And it wasn't until he cut out the excuses and took control of his own actions that he experienced freedom. So, like, are there areas of life right now where you might be making excuses for your actions? Are you blaming them on other people? Are you blaming them on your circumstances? Are there areas of life where you're just reacting to the world and feeling like you have no control over your actions? Like, if you can start becoming more aware of these areas and fixing them now in the good times, you'll be way more equipped to handle the difficult seasons. So taking responsibility for your life, for your attitude, and for your actions is just a pretty practical way that we can kind of prepare ourselves for difficulties in the future. And the second way I think we can be proactive now is to build an amazing support group. And this was probably Rob's biggest piece of advice for handling adversity. And one of the things that really changed things for him when he was kind of pulling himself out of it. If you're alone in life, like, it's going to be really difficult. If you have an amazing support group, they can help carry the weight in your life. And the first step that he took was finding a mentor. And so I think this is a huge step to take. This would be an older, wiser person who has been through a lot of life that can help give some guidance. And in my life, when I faced adversity, like, having this has been an absolute lifesaver. Like, when I was in my most trying time not too long ago, I was consistently meeting with 3 men, and it doesn't have to be 3, but like, I just felt like it was so impactful that I was consistently meeting with 3 men. And I'm not the man I would be today if it wasn't for them. And I really don't know where I'd be without them. So Tom, Chad, Aaron, if you guys are listening, I love you. I cannot say thank you enough. So grateful for the 3 of you and just what you did for me during that season. Amazing. But the problem that I had, and Rob kind of experienced this too, was we waited until an extremely difficult season to go find mentorship. And like Rob said that he waited until he was at rock bottom to find mentorship. And I believe we could have saved ourselves a lot of pain and hardship if we had found the mentorship earlier, because they could have kept us on a better path. And also just because we would have had them there right at the beginning when life really kicked us down. And so to be proactive, I would challenge you guys right now to find an older man that you can consistently meet with. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly, whatever works best for you. But find somebody now to just start building, have a good mentor in your life so that you can start building a rock solid support group. And the second piece of this support group is having other strong male friends that you can do life with. And unfortunately, guys, I think this is an area that a lot of us miss. It's so easy to become isolated. It's really easy to keep all our relations surface level. That's a big struggle of mine sometimes. But there's nothing like having other men that have your back, that you can be open and honest with. And so, we were not made to do life alone. There are too many challenges in this life to take on ourselves. We need each other. And you may not feel that right now if things are going well, but I can guarantee you, you're going to want other people around you when life gets tough. So building a group like this, it does take work. It does take intentionality. It's not easy. If it was easy, we probably would all have it. It can take some time to find the right people, but it truly is worth the work. And you might already have the structure there with your current group of friends. A lot of times, we have some friends. It's just a matter of taking a step to go deeper with them. Maybe you need to challenge the group to have more serious talks. Maybe you need to pull a couple guys aside and ask them to do life with you. Tell them what's going on in your life. Be open. You go take the first step. That's what being intentional is. And I think, that was typically where I was with my group of friends. They were great. And it was just a matter of okay, guys, we really need to go deeper. And so that could be a great action step coming from this, is just having a good conversation with either one close friend or a few close friends and just talking about how you can really support each other deeper. Because if you build this group of friends right now, you're going to be in much better shape when the storms of life come around. You're going to have a group of men who can help carry your burdens. You're going to have a group of men that you know well and that can challenge you and sharpen you in that season. And the third piece I want to talk about in terms of building a rock solid community, and I think this is one that we don't really ever think about when we think about having a strong community around us, but is to have somebody that you are mentoring, actually. So you have a mentor, then you have your friends that you're doing life with, that you're running with, and then have somebody that you're mentoring or somebody that you're serving or helping. Because I think this is one of the greatest ways to break habits of selfishness and self-centeredness, is to serve other people. And what typically happens when life gets tough? We typically become extremely self-focused. At least I know that I do. My natural tendency, if things start to get tough, is I feel sorry for myself. And I assume everyone else should feel sorry for me. But one of the greatest ways to fight this is to intentionally love and serve other people. That keeps our eyes on the needs of others instead of just ourselves. So again, if this is something you're not currently doing, then I'd highly encourage you to find somebody to mentor or find some place that you can consistently serve. Because when the storms of life roll around, you'll already have an avenue set up in your life where you're helping other people. And that takes the focus off of ourselves. And what's cool is helping others actually gives us a boost of self-esteem at the same time, because we feel like we're making a difference in life. And so both of those things will help tremendously in times of difficulty. So find a mentor, find a group of friends you can run with, and find a place where you can serve or somebody that you can mentor as well. So I know there's plenty of other ways to kind of prepare for the difficult seasons of life. But really the key is, the big takeaway from this is to be proactive now. And it's something that we usually don't do. We usually wait until things happen and we react. And then at that point, we're all trying to play catch up. And so, but if we become extremely intentional with our lives now, I think we can avoid a lot of pain in the future. So think about how you can take more control over your attitude and your actions, and how you can build a rock solid system of support. So those are two ways that I got for you today. I would love to hear your thoughts and other strategies that you could think of that would help in this area. If you got any thoughts, please reach out to me directly or on social media. I'd love to chat and hear your thoughts. And if this episode was impactful for you, please share it with other people that might need it. So again, thank you so much for listening. and live a life that you're proud of by living intentionally. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Intentional Man podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to support the show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, and leave a rating and review. If you are someone who is looking to take your life to the next level, accelerate your success, and live more intentionally, I would love to help. Shoot me a text at 970-430-6085, and we can schedule a time to meet to discuss your vision and your goals. Again, that is 970-430-6085. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, build a life that matters by living intentionally.